Hello, nice friends. How are you? Um, Hi from Italy, from Rome. It is pretty late in the evening, and so and then we no longer have daylight saving time. So the time schedule was different for me, and I'm so sorry if I'm an hour late. I don't know whether I'm an hour in advance or an hour late. It's always very, very mind-boggling. In fact, today, I'm going to talk about the very interesting subject of time. So, last time we talked about vision, and today I want to focus my attention on time. I was reflecting on time and about its components, the concept, and the experience of time that we have in this um, earth experience, but also the experience of time that we have at a soul level. And so the experience of the different time zones is exactly a case in point, because time is very relative according to where we are. Because if I am in Europe, the time is different from the time zone in America, but even more so with respect to Australia. If I fly to Australia, I have practically to go back 12 hours, and so it's a little bit strange. Um, but when we talk about time, then we know scientifically from physics that time is relative. So time is never the same, and we define time according to a set of rules. So we have subdivided the day in hours, minutes, and but the experience of time is very, very personal. Because if you think about it, when there is a very special day or a very special experience, for example, love, or when we are in love, when we meet somebody we love very much, or when we are doing something very special, time seems either to fly, because especially in our memories, and that moment seems to either last forever or be very, very short. Uh, or otherwise, so if you have other experiences, time is completely dilated. I had this experience when we were in a lockdown in Italy, especially the first few weeks. Time was expanded. These days never finished because our lives were completely different. So we could not go out, we could not go to work. And so most of us had to stay at home. And so the organization of the time indoor and this completely new experience dilated this period in a very, very incredible way. So I really felt that my days were never ending. There was no end to this very, very long expanded time. So time is very, very personal as an experience, and but it is also true for what we do all the time, because we are able to travel through time. Many people say, oh, this is impossible. But actually, we do this all the time with our thoughts, because most of the time we are either in the past, because we are attached to the past, to memories, experiences, or we relive or reenact past experiences. Unfortunately, most of the time, the very bad ones, we have almost geared and wired, to remember bad experiences more than positive ones. That is why we have to change probably the wiring of our brains in order to be able to capture more positive events, more beauty, and better experiences in our lives. Um, so when we travel also in the future, so we very rarely are in the here and now, in the present moment. Um, this is what happens instead when we meditate. Generally, meditation allows us to be in the here and now, But through visualizations, we can travel through time. And this traveling through time or time travel can be extremely useful to change our experiences or to relive or reenact certain events, but with a different approach, with a different experience, with a different knowledge. Probably if we go back to an experience we had as a child or as children, the knowledge we have now allows us to see things differently. Something that at 3 years of age may have appeared extremely frightening, extremely traumatizing, with the knowledge and the experience of an adult, the same event can be seen and experienced through a totally different perspective. So this can be really very useful to heal emotions from the past that are still coming up and are still creating some experiences that we would not like to have in our lives. Some negative experiences that may have become completely unconscious for us can come up again and again and again in our lives until we are able to really overcome them. And the best way to do is first to become aware of that experience. If we do not remember that experience, for example, and or if those emotions have been completely repressed, and we can focus on these experiences to be able to heal them. And this can be done through meditation, and we can decide to focus on one particular event in our life, or one particular situation, one particular person, and feel the experience. Or you can travel through time to feel those emotions fully. It is so important to feel those emotions, because it is only through feeling these emotions that we can heal them completely. So even if an experience seems so terrifying for us, it is important to go back in time. If we do this through meditation, rather than simple reasoning or simple remembering, we can ask for protection, because that experience may have been so painful that we are very scared of experiencing those very strong emotions. So we can ask our guides, angels, or whoever we want to be protected in that experience, so that we can relive that experience with grace, for example, or with ease, and not with less suffering. And so that we live through that experience again. And we may ask questions through time travel. If we go back to a specific event or a specific date, we can try to remember what really happened. We can travel through time and go in the period before that event and ask ourselves, what were the facts, the events, or the situations that led up to that particular experience. And we can look at the unfolding of events, and then we can ask ourselves whether, with the knowledge we have today, in the present moment, we would make a different choice, for example. And we can actually make a different choice through time travel. We can decide, we can live that experience and try to heal that experience by living the emotion once again. But then we can apply the knowledge and the level of awareness we have today to make a different choice and to look at that particular experience through new eyes. And so if we then go back into the present time and then go back again into that particular experience, the level of emotions will be different. It is interesting to test um, how the level of emotion changes according to this particular approach. So whether we can actually, if we go back in time and try to experience once again a particular event, if an emotion the first time we go back is very intense, we can ask ourselves to we can think about a number. We can say that that experience at a level of, say, 10 or 9 or 8, if it is extremely intense. Once we do this process, we re-experience emotions, and then we can heal the emotions, and we can ask the angels, for example, to heal that emotion, and we can ask ourselves, or we can ask our guides to retain the memory of that experience and the lessons, but not the emotions linked to that particular event. So when we go back to the present time, and next time we go back to that particular event, we can try and relive that experience. And again, we can give it a number. We may have gone down to, from, let's say, 8 to 5. And we can do this process again and again and again until the emotional content of that particular experience goes to 0. I'm talking especially about negative experiences, because if we had an incredible experience, why not having a very exciting memory? But even positive experiences have lessons that we can learn. So if we go back through our meditation to a specific event, we can either relive a very joyful experience, which made us very happy. So we can go back to that happy time and enjoy it completely. But if the experience was not so positive, or at least it was not so positive for us at that particular time, we can go back again, and again through time travel to heal that emotion and to go back then to the present time. And so that particular event does no longer have any effect on us. Another possible technique we can use is to cut the cords with that particular situation and emotion. We can cut the cords ourselves. We can ask Archangel Michael, to cut the cords for us, and to remain attached to that experience only through the lessons we can learn from that experience. It's very useful to ask questions. It's so nice to go back in time. Maybe I remember once one experience I wanted to relive was an experience I had at 3 years of age. I remember very little of about that experience, but the number 3 came up because I asked myself some questions, and the first number that came to my mind was 3. So I realized that experience was a very early childhood experience for me, and something that had really frightened me. So when I went back, I asked myself different questions, and I remember that the level of emotion was very high. And by traveling through time back to that particular moment, I was able to ask the angels to heal that experience and to show me the experience through different eyes, through the eyes of a person who is an adult, who has a different level of consciousness, who has a different level of experience. And so that particular experience no longer shows up in my life through my unconscious mind. And I also cut the cords, thanks to Archangel Michael, through to that particular experience. So I only retained the lessons that I learned from that experience. And if I go back in time to that experience now, it is practically emotionally neutral. So I remember the experience. I know the lessons I learned from that experience, but I don't feel any pain, any suffering. And so I'm free. All the cords have been cut. And the only memories I have are related to the lessons I learned from that experience. This technique is really useful, and we can use it for everything. And we can actually use it to our advantage to create a new life for us in the future, because as we can travel back in time, we can travel forward in time, we can travel to our future, we can travel to our quantum self, a self that already exists for us in the quantum field, how we would like to see ourselves as powerful beings, or with a new career, with a new relationship, with a new situation, in a new house, or with a different approach to life, whatever we choose, whatever we desire, really desire. So we can travel through time and we go back to a point in the future, and we can live that particular life. We can imagine, we can daydream about how we want to be, who we really are, who we want to be. If we can live, for example, according to the highest level of power we have, if we want to be the greatest and the grandest version of ourselves, we can do this in the quantum field. And that hologram exists for us in the quantum field. And if we go back to, if we actually, sorry, not go back, if we go to the future, to that particular point in the future, over and over again, and we live that experience, that is the experience that we are going to have in our lives, because this has been created in the quantum field, and then it's going to be manifested. So since we are so good at traveling back in time, I think we should also be very good at traveling, in the future, and create something for us that we really want, in our lives. And it's fascinating. I didn't know that this was possible, but then I attended a course where um, the teacher was showing us how to use that power to heal the past, but how to use that power to create the future. And this became something so exciting that I do this all the time. So I can, for example, use that technique to change the course of a negotiation, in work relations, in business relations. And I can travel to the future and decide that a certain decision has already been taken, a certain agreement has already been signed. So the balance of powers, maybe in a company, has completely changed, or you have a new boss, or I have new colleagues. We can choose whatever we want. If we have a particular situation, we can be very specific. And then we can ask our angels to help us pour the highest possible frequencies of light and love into that situation, so that the situation is increasingly positive. It is not only positive because we are fulfilling our desires, but we can actually ask our guides to fill it with a lot of positive emotions. And so that particular experience is really charged with high frequencies, and so it is even better. I have to say that I use this technique a lot, not only for my past, but for my future in particular. And I suggest, I always tell my clients to use this technique over and over again, together with tapping, in order to heal some experiences of the past. Sometimes we are totally unaware of certain experiences that have shaped a certain way of behaving, of certain attitudes we have. We don't even know where they come from. And or false beliefs about ourselves or about other people or situations. And I think that writing down answers when we ask questions is very, very useful. I generally use a sheet of paper, and I divide the sheet of paper in two parts. And in one part, I write down what I want to heal. Let's say a fear. If, for example, I'm afraid of certain animals. I remember when I was a child, I was really terrified of some insects, spiders, for example. I was terrified of spiders. Now I'm no longer terrified, but I remember I was really always worried that there were spiders in my bed, and I was scared. And so we can go back in time and heal that particular situation, but sometimes we are not aware of certain feelings, of certain emotions. So probably just taking some time and letting our, we have to be very spontaneous in this situation. So we can ask ourselves some questions. What fear do I have about the situation? Why am I experiencing this fear? Where is it come from? Where does it come from? And we can write down the first ideas we have in our mind. For example, if I told you about the situation in which I had an experience, and then the number 3 came as an answer to my question, and then so I related that experience to my early childhood when I was 3. We can have experiences of past lives or different dimensions, different ways of being, because since we are multidimensional beings and we are now, having this experience in this body in on Earth, we may have had other kinds of experiences that we don't remember, but we may carry with us certain problems we have not been able to solve. And these problems are still bothering us, or these issues are coming back in our lives over and over again. We may have, for example, constant money problems or constant relational problems. I had a friend who was, had always this same kind of negative relationship with men. She was always choosing the man who made her suffer or who betrayed her, always the same pattern. So when there is a pattern, I think we have to look, with attention and no judgment. I mean, we are not to blame. No, there is no one to blame. And it's just a fact. And so if we are not judgmental, we can look at the facts and start asking questions. And so this exercise with a sheet of paper with 2 parts is really very useful if we are very spontaneous, and then we write down whatever comes in our mind as an answer. And then through that, we can start reliving certain experiences and heal the past. But we can do exactly the same for the future. We can ask ourselves what kind of life we want, who we really want to be, who is the grandest and greatest version of ourselves, who we are, and what kind of service we want to give to the world. We can ask so many questions. And then when we have the answers and the answers resonate with us, we can create exactly that hologram in the future. which then becomes our present, because we can bring, as we brought the past experience to the present time, healed, we can bring that future experience in the present as already given, as something we already have, because this is the real law of attraction. So we have to know so deeply that that particular desire is already fulfilled, that everything is already there. It's just there for the taking. As if we go, sometimes I use the metaphor of a touch screen. So we can envision our life through a touch screen. And according to the icon we touch, we can download a file, a film, upload photos. So we can do whatever we like. So we can travel through time and be in a spaceship and have this huge screen. And then through touch screen, we can create the life we want. We can create a house, we can design a car, we can design who we are, how we want to look, and what kind of food we want to eat, whatever. We can be, very creative, very expansive, and that particular file will remain in our life. We just go there, touch the screen, and we have it. And we can download all the resources we need. This is something I always do in my meditations. I delete the files I don't want. I delete false beliefs, fake news, bad attitudes, negative energies. I delete them. And then I download whatever I want. I download strength, power, perseverance, vision, intuition, higher level of consciousness, my grandest version of myself, power, empowerment. So I can download whatever I want. So I can download a film of my future life if I have already written the script. And we can do this through our visualizations in our meditations. And life becomes so exciting because the only barrier is our imagination. There is nothing that can stop us. I mean, our imagination can be really very rich and generous with ourselves. So we can envision a life of abundance where everything is abundant. So we have abundance of love, of light, of money, of joy. I had to work a lot, for example, on the issue of ease and joy and grace, because I was brought up in a family where everything is hard work, sacrifice, and duty. And so my imprinting was, I have to work hard, whatever you do. So, not too much time to play, not too much time to have fun. So I really had to work hard to transform that attitude and have a more joyous approach, even to work. And in order to find time really to enjoy what I do and also really have fun and laugh. Why not? And angels have helped me a lot in that, because I perceive that they have a great sense of humor. And many times I see people lose their playful part. And I think that we have to go back to that experience, because playing and having fun and having creative experiences can really enrich our lives a lot. And also ease. So not to work in order so hard to get some results. I can have the same experience with ease. I can learn my lessons with ease and grace, so that whenever I have an experience, the experience doesn't have to be so painful and so dramatic, so incredible. And so I can, lower a little bit the tone of that particular emotion, and so I can experience my life more easily. And that for me was a real challenge. But through that kind of technique and meditation, I really was able to infuse grace and ease into my life. And my life has really been transformed by that, because now I have time. I also stop sometimes and I try to laugh about situations, laugh about myself, and trying to find the hilarious parts of our lives, because sometimes even bad experiences may have a hilarious part. So I always try to focus on that rather than on the drama, because we tend, human beings, women especially, tend to fill their lives with drama at all levels: work, relations, children, drama all the time, war all the time. My life was like that for many, many years. But now, my life, there is drama sometimes because I'm still attached to drama a little bit. But I also find the hilarious and the humorous part of, of that experience, which makes my life lighter and, and so easier to live, for sure. Uh, so life is no longer a sacrifice, so hard work and sacrifice, and it's becoming increasingly fun and increasingly pleasant. And angels have helped me a lot in that, because angels have a great sense of humor. Sometimes I receive messages and I say, come on, that cannot be true, because they ask me to do certain things that are ridiculous for me. At the beginning, I refused. I completely refused. But then I let go and I followed their advice, and my life became, so much better. At the beginning, I said, what are you talking about? But then I decided to listen and to test whether they were suggesting was good for me. And then I saw it was. And so today I'm a much happier person than I used to be 20 years ago. I was very serious, businesswoman, and all work, family, and whatever. But now I'm much more relaxed. So and the concept, and actually the experience of time has changed, because now when I stop to meditate, to think about the situations in a different way, I give myself the time also to relax, to be at ease with myself and with other people. And of course, other people are much happier with me, because I'm not always there trying, oh, do that, come on. It's always in a hurry. So it's now it's so much better. So what I suggest you do, try time travel, because time travel is so much fun and is so useful. Then we can combine that with tapping. And next time I will talk about tapping, and I will share some, simple tapping techniques to heal emotions, to overcome certain problems, or to integrate certain experiences into our lives. I found tapping late in my life, and I went to attend some courses with very good tapping experts, and I think it's a very, very powerful technique. It combines very well with meditation and with other techniques that I use. So if you want to know more about that, why don't you contact me on my Facebook page, Syl Ver, and I will be available for you. Just let me know and write to me, either directly on my page or in private, and I will get back to you. And so next time I will talk about tapping, because first time we talked about vision and how we can use vision and visualizations. to our advantage. This time I talked about time and how we can use time to our advantage and in our meditations. And next time I will talk about how to use tapping to heal emotions and to create what we like, what we want in our lives, and also to integrate some experiences into our lives. And with this, I would like to say bye to everybody, and we say ciao in Rome. Ciao, bye.